Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest who's returning, who's a legend, and who's someone that I need to face the music and I need to apologize. From TNA, the legend herself, Gail Kim. Gail, how are you, love?
I'm great. I actually don't know what you're talking about, so I'm kind of nervous, but I feel like I'm already going to forgive you because you're already taking ownership of whatever you did.
See that, man? Sometimes you got to just admit it. You always say,
Yeah,
admit it, and then
I
you face the
love
music.
accountability. I try to do it myself.
Yeah, it's a goal I'm trying to do. Therapy's working, Gail. It's working.
Very nice.
But first, let's get down to business with TNA. August 2nd and August 3rd, Impact doing the television tapings at a place I used to work at, the Florida State Fairgrounds in Tampa,
Nice.
Florida. Yes, a city I hold near and dear. You can get tickets if you're in the Tampa area at eventbrite.com. And don't forget, coming up, Victory Road, September 13th and 14th. TNA, there's a lot of crazy things happening, and we'll get to them in a second. And actually, well, I'll segue it like this, talking about crazy things that happened. NXT BattleGround was here in Las Vegas.
Yes.
I saw you. I was like, oh, snap. I saw all you guys flew in with the TNA helicopter.
With the TNA helicopter.
Had the premier seats inside UFC Apex. Obviously, Jordynne Grace battling Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's title. It was a great event. That was a great moment. And then I've interviewed you before. By now it's been like 2 years ago, but obviously pandemic and Zoom and all this different stuff, like it never feels like an actual interview because you're doing 50s of these, and how are you going to remember names if you don't like get to see them? So I at least wanted to walk up to you and say, hey, I wanted to introduce myself and thank you for the time that you spent on Zoom when we did the interview, which I did. And then some people walked up to me and I started having the conversation, and you were having the conversation as well. And for those that don't know, UFC Apex is like a very intimate, beautiful place, but it's very intimate, meaning that like there's no barriers. Everyone, if you're there, everyone can see you. Yeah. And you were still there. And I was like, why didn't I ask for a picture?
Yeah.
But the other part of my head's like, hey man, I know you're a fan and I know you love wrestling, but like you work here. You don't ask for pictures like that, and you ruined your chance.
Okay.
And my other brain and my other friends were like, no, bro, you got come on, bro. You're trying to be an influencer. Well, you got to get a picture with Gail. So I went up against my instinct because you were also having a conversation. And I said, Gail, I'm sorry to ask, but can we please take this picture, which is right here, and we'll put it up on the screen. A lovely picture. You looked amazing. And as I took the picture and I stood next to you, as we're facing an exit where the crowd can go, a whole bunch of people started walking out. And of course they knew who you were. And then a line started. So plain and simple, excuse my language, I was an asshole. I shouldn't have done that.
I'm not at all. I think, if you ask most wrestlers, we got into this business for a reason, and we wanted to provide entertainment for the fans and do what we love. And to have that love reciprocated, I mean, everyone should feel appreciative of that. And I'm grateful for the last 24 years that I've been part of this business. I'll be appreciative of every fan, even the trolls I never meet. I just appreciate it. I've worked so hard. So it's nice to meet fans who appreciate that hard work.
I just want you to know my heart broke as I saw the line build.
Oh no, it's good. I feel like someone was like, "Oh, let me just take you with me so we can finish the conversation." I actually feel bad in the other regard when I can't meet all the fans, and I am in the middle of a conversation sometimes, but it was all good. All good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And with that, I do want to ask too, like, what's the most awkward place you've been asked like to sign an autograph, or like most awkward place you've had to sign an autograph, I guess?
Oh my gosh. I really have I don't think I've had any weird requests that I can think of.
I feel like females have more decorum where like, I don't think a woman would walk up to you in the bathroom and be like, hey,
no, yeah.
Like in the stall.
Yeah. I will say also, I think generally, and I could be wrong, maybe you can tell me, but I feel like male fans, when they meet a female wrestler, are a little bit more scared or intimidated to go up to them. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure, but I find when I'm with my wrestler girls, it's kind of like, oh my God, all the girls.
They're pretty in real life. I can't do that. I can't do this. I don't know. It depends. Like if you're meeting Moose is a big dude.
Yeah.
There'll be some intimidation, but you meet Ray and you're like, I'm taller than him. Of course I can beat him up. No, you can't. But still,
Moose is a softie.
it's
Moose
a
is
whole
a
different
softie.
thing.
Don't tell him I said that. Moose is a great guy, though. He's a really great guy.
And speaking of you being there, it kind of like honestly, when you look at the tidbits and all the news that came out of that great event, like you being there was a story itself. Even though I know that wasn't the intention, and you were there, I'm assuming to support Jordynne and just be a part of that. But for you, I guess a lot of people said CM Punk when CM Punk returned to WWE, hell froze over. A lot of people had that same reaction knowing that you were there. For you, walk me through that process of was it simply I'm there to support Jordynne wherever she goes?
100%. And listen, as people mature through the years, myself included, you grow up and mostly, for TNA itself, the company, to be able to collaborate. And, I said, this is such a great time in wrestling right now because you never know who you're going to see show up in what company. You have all these dream matches that could be fulfilled at this moment, and you never know what's going to happen. This weekend in Tampa, Friday, August the 2nd and 3rd, I'm going to just plug it a little bit, 6 p.m. start. You never know who's going to show up. We're doing a lot of stuff with NXT. Like you just said, Jordynne Grace and Roxy face each other that day, but we're not that far. You never know who's going to show up from NXT this weekend as well, along with our newly crowned champion, Nick Nemeth, Joe Hendry, the hottest pro wrestler in pro wrestling today, Jordynne Grace, who we just mentioned. The Hardys are back. Like it's just, there's just so much potential for all the excitement right now. I'm truly excited. We haven't been here for a long time.
And when we spoke, you brought up like the locker room and the relationships that you guys had, and to me, it's what separated you guys and what kind of helped the momentum. That kind of felt very grassroots, and then to see this meet with everything else that's happening, like it's really awesome to see. And from your perspective, all the things that you're involved with in the company and all the relationships and the mentorships, to see what's going on right now and the buzz and the hype of like wrestling is great because everyone watches it live and everyone wants to know what's going to be the surprise. And now every time someone watches TNA or NXT, they're waiting for it because they know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So for you, how has this whole experience been?
It's been so great. I think it's just great, like I said, for wrestling fans in general, because it's wrestling, right? It's not just about one company and the tribalism that could possibly be going on right now, and social media and all these things where spoilers come out. I think people are predicting wrestling because they know more about it, but I feel like we've done a pretty good job of creating some surprises and things that people don't expect. It's just been a truly exciting time for me. Being behind the scenes and in the knowledge of a lot of these things is still truly exciting for me to watch it play out. I love seeing the fans be surprised. I love them, just love wrestling and just enjoying the collaborations. It's just great across the board. From AAA to New Japan to NXT. I mean, we're working with a lot of companies, and I think it's a great thing for fans. Everyone's winning.
Did you think this was ever possible? Like, it's crazy to me. I'm still like, what is happening every week? Like,
yeah, me too. I think I love it. That concept never even entered my mind because it wasn't a thing when I was wrestling. So I wish we had those opportunities back then, because it's great. Like I said, these dream matches that you always think, oh, I got to wait 3 years. Let's see if they resign, or maybe they'll just, these two favorite wrestlers of mine that work in different companies, they may have the chance to actually face each other. And I think it's actually more exciting to see them face each other when they're in different companies. It's pretty cool.
No, it's amazing. And I want to ask you about fulfillment, because I'm assuming as a performer going out there in the ring and as someone who is mentoring some of the talent, they feel amazing, but obviously it's a different type of fulfillment. Could you break that down and how you feel in some of the separation?
Oh yeah. I mean, when I retired, it was hard. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for everyone. And this is why I actually like to talk to people who are maybe considering retirement near the end of their career. And I always tell them, like, just be sure and have a path. Because I knew when I started not being able to walk after matches, essentially, I said, okay, I don't want the fans to see me slow down. I got to start thinking about retirement. And other people who cared for me in the business said, oh, you got to start thinking about your retirement. from that conversation, it took me about 2 years to retire. It can take that long because you're basically giving up that part of your life that you thrived on and dreamed up for so long. And I found that fulfillment within producing. And at the beginning, I didn't know how to, almost like you're so used to controlling things in the ring, you didn't know how to let that go. And I let that go eventually. And I started getting fulfilled from the girls having the matches. And I think other wrestlers who are watching this, they'll probably understand the high you can get from an amazing match. It can stay with you for weeks. I mean, up to a month, you can have that adrenaline pump. And I actually never thought I was going to get it from other people wrestling, and I truly do. Sometimes I always joke around with my husband because I always say, nothing makes me, I don't cry. Like I'm just not an emotional person. But wrestling is the one thing that makes me cry. I never cried at our wedding. But when I see those girls create moments or have those moments, I feel it. I get so emotional, and I'm just so lucky to be able to do this to this day.
It's a beautiful thing. And now you're getting me emotional, but I'm not going to cry because
So,
I
yeah.
do cry. And Pixar movies with my son is amazing. Anyway, one thing I want to ask you, and today's kind of been surreal for me because I'm speaking to you earlier. I spoke to Trish Stratus. So legends on legends on legends. Very thankful for it all. But one thing I asked her, and I want to ask you, is, there's been a lot made for the barriers that have been broken with women in wrestling throughout a whole bunch of different companies, and that's in the ring. But outside the ring, it's been fascinating to me to say there's plenty of women that you can pick from where whether they're leaving a company because they didn't necessarily like their creative, they took a chance. Trinity did it, going to TNA and seeing her get her flowers wherever she's gone, hearing the rumors of all these contracts, and they're massive and they're record breaking, as they should. From that side, from the business side, to see just some of these things and more barriers being broken on that side, how does that make you feel as someone who laid the groundwork for all of this?
It's just so rewarding. And I know we have a little bit more work to do, but we've come so far. And I've always said this, like, if you told me this when I entered the business in the year 2000, I took my first bump at 2000, but women's wrestling was kind of still, there was the, golden era of wrestling at that time. So they're really utilizing a small group of women. And so that's what inspired me. But to know that main eventing a pay-per-view or main eventing a show now is just a normal thing because they know that they can deliver. It's a great thing. The length of time women are given nowadays, it's great. They're able to tell a story. They're able to show what they got. I love it. I feel like the strides have been great. It has been over the course of 24 years for me. So I probably wouldn't have believed that you would have told me that. And it's so just satisfying and so gratifying.
No, and TNA's definitely led the way with that knockouts division. It's incredible. This conversation has been incredible. I want to thank you for the time. But before we do so, I want to let everybody know August 2nd, August 3rd, this Friday, this Saturday, TNA tapings, Florida State Fairgrounds, event time 6 p.m. And you can get your tickets at eventbrite.com. And coming up in September, the next major event, Victory Road, September 13th and 14th. And Gail said it. Wrestling's crazy. You never know what's going to happen.
Fact. Yes. And I always tell everyone, even if you're not a wrestling fan, if you're in the area, I guarantee you, you don't even need to know who the wrestlers are. You don't even have to know what the storylines are. You will be entertained. You'll never see anything like live pro wrestling.
No, 100%. And also, I just want to add this comment. Gail, with some of the big wigs at TNA, can you tell them, please get AJ Styles in there? We need to see that for the culture. For TNA, please, we need to see that. Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Love to see that.
Gail, as always, thank you so much for the time. And I'm saying sorry again. I'm sorry.
You're good. That is nothing to be sorry about. Thank you so much.